What's up, my friend? Welcome to episode 57 of Inside the 20 by Basement Brewed Fantasy Football. I'm Mikey Henninger. Today we're going to kick off a 5-part series where over the next 5 episodes, I dissect each and every selection that I make in a full 20-round best ball draft in the main tournament over on drafters.com. I'll open up my brain, I'll open up my spreadsheets, and I'll use data to dive deep on why I make every single selection that I make in this 20-round draft. And along the way, I'm going to invite you to a private best ball league with me, and I'm also going to give away an autographed NFL jersey to one lucky winner. So grab your coffee or grab your beer, and let's dive in. There is arguably no better feeling in fantasy football than when you land an absolute steal. You get my 2025 Fantasy Football Draft Dominator, which is jam-packed with strategy and analysis for 250-plus players. And he's been strong in fantasy football. He's averaging over 18 fantasy points per game over 25 career games where he's played at least 73% of the offensive snaps. 2025 Week Winner, formerly known as the Heat Map. So you can conquer start-sit dilemmas, find plug-and-play streamers, and dominate your weekly matchups with this one-of-a-kind resource, Discord community, where you can get personalized advice from 180-plus and counting sharp fantasy football minds that are helping each other dominate. 365 days of elite fantasy football analysis, resources, and Discord community. Alright, so as you see here, I'm doing today's draft from the 7 spot, and with my first pick, I chose Malik Nabers over Ashton Genty and other wide receivers like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka Nacua, Brian Thomas, and Nico Collins. Here's why. Well, for starters, I already have Malik Nabers ranked higher than all of those guys in my 2025 Draft Dominator, so that could theoretically be the end-all be-all for this discussion. He's literally my highest ranked available player. But let's go a little bit deeper. In episode 56 of Inside the 20, I exposed several secrets, trends, and common themes that I uncovered when studying the top 300 teams in drafters' main best ball tournaments over the last 3 years combined. There's plenty of gold in that episode, but frankly, it's not even scratching the surface of what we've found. But one of the things I did mention in that episode is that a whopping 73% of the top 300 teams over the last 3 years chose a wide receiver with their first pick in the first round, while just 19% chose a running back. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean you have to take a wide receiver in the first round, but it is a nice little tiebreaker to remember when you're trying to decide between a running back and a wide receiver in round 1. Now, as for Malik Nabers himself, there's a reason that he's ranked as high as he is in my 2025 Draft Dominator. He averaged 1.6 PPR points per possibility and an absurd 11-plus targets and 18-plus PPR points per game in his 15-game rookie season. He showed a safe floor, scoring 10 or more PPR points in 93% of his games, including 15 or more PPR points about half the time, 47%. He also flashed that monster week-winning ceiling, scoring 20-plus PPR points about 33% of the time, with a season/career high of 36.1 PPR points against the Colts in Week 17. And perhaps most impressively, besides the fact that he did that in his rookie season, he did it with a quarterback carousel of Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, Tommy DeVito, and Tim Boyle, none of which are a starting quarterback heading into the 2025 season. Now, the Giants have upgraded their quarterback room, bringing in Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and first-round rookie Jackson Dart, but they did not upgrade their wide receiver room, once again giving Malik Nabers minimal target competition as they run it back with Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton, which, by the way, Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton are both really nice picks at their current cost in 2025 best ball drafts, and don't sleep on Theo Johnson either, but we'll talk about all those guys at another time. All in all, Malik Nabers has a chance to finish the 2025 NFL season as fantasy's #1 overall wide receiver, and I'm not hesitating for a single second to take Malik Nabers when I can get him in the middle of the first round. Are you a software wizard? A code ninja? A forge master? Or maybe even just a mad scientist? Then come build your career ladder with Infinity Labs, an award-winning technology company, best place to work, and business of the year with best-in-class benefits and compensation. Visit i-labs.tech. That's i-labs.tech today, where you can learn more about Infinity Labs, our expanding national presence, and why the status quo has no hold on us. When the draft came back to me at pick 18 overall in the middle of the second round, I had a choice to make. Should I take the guy with the higher ADP, Drake London, or should I take my first running back of the draft, De'Von Achane? As you can see on the screen, I went with De'Von Achane over Drake London this time, and here's why. 43% of the top 300 teams on drafters over the last 3 years finished round 2 with exactly one running back and one wide receiver. In fact, 47% of the top 300 teams had exactly one running back after the first 2 rounds. And because I've done more than 300 drafts already this year, which, by the way, is why the 2025 Draft Dominator is so dang dominant. I'm actually releasing the 2025 Draft Dominator this month here in June. Comment Dominator if you want me to put you on the pre-release waiting list. But because I have made more than 6,000 draft picks already this year, I knew there was a really strong chance that I would be taking a wide receiver in round 3, and we'll talk more about why in just a minute. Now, as for De'Von Achane himself, in 19 career games where De'Von Achane has handled at least 11 touches in games that he's played with Tua Tagovailoa, he's averaging 1.3 PPR points per possibility and an elite, mouth-watering 22.8 PPR points per game. Now, in those games, he's averaging 17 plus touches per game, including, most importantly for his week-winning ceiling, 5.5 targets per game. He has a safe floor. He's scored 10 or more PPR points in 95% of those games that he played alongside Tua, including 15 plus PPR points in 74% of those games. We also know he has a league-wrecking ceiling where he's been able to score 20 or more PPR points in 68% of his games with Tua, including 30-plus PPR points in 16% of those games, with a high of 51.3 PPR points against the Denver Broncos back in Week 3 of 2023. And if all that wasn't enough to have you on De'Von Achane in round 2, it certainly doesn't hurt that the Miami Dolphins moved on from Raheem Mostert this year, a guy who was siphoning more than 12 touches per game in his 3 years with Mike McDaniel and the Miami Dolphins. All in all, De'Von Achane could easily finish as Fantasy's RB number 1 overall in PPR leagues, and here we are getting him in the middle of the second round. If you have $10 and think you can beat me in a 12-team best ball league, this is your chance. In fact, I got 3 different reasons that you should join my private, listeners-only best ball contest over on drafters.com. Number 1, you're going to get up to $100 in free money to play fantasy football with. Anybody who joins and uses promo code BBFF is going to receive a 100% match on their first deposit on drafters.com all the way up to $100. So it's like getting a free $100 bill to play fantasy football with, and who doesn't love free money? Number 2, anybody who joins and uses promo code BBFF is also going to receive $10 off an annual membership to my small but mighty business, Basement Brewed Fantasy Football. And number 3, if all of that free money, if those savings weren't enough, you get a chance to dunk on me in the process by beating me in a 12-team best ball league. So whenever you're ready, smash the link that we left for you in the description of this show and enter promo code BBFF for a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. And when you do, send me an email to let me know, and you'll get a promo code for $10 off an annual subscription to Basement Brewed Fantasy Football. Don't worry, I left my email for you in the show notes as well. In round 3, my decision came down to Davante Adams or Tyreek Hill. And as you can see, in this case, I chose Tyreek Hill, though that's certainly not the case every time. Now, You could certainly have considered another position here. Somebody like Josh Allen at quarterback, Kyren Williams at running back. But this is the part of the draft where your previous draft picks start to influence your current and future draft picks. In other words, this is where roster construction really starts to kick into high gear. You see, a whopping 38% of the top 300 teams in drafters' main best ball tournaments over the last 3 seasons had exactly 1 running back and 2 wide receivers after the first 3 rounds. For comparison, the next closest roster construction was 3 wide receivers after 3 rounds, and that combination occurred just 20% of the time. So in other words, 2 wide receivers and 1 running back occurred nearly twice as frequently as the next closest roster combination. And if we want to go just a little bit deeper, 48% of the top 300 teams had exactly 2 wide receivers after the first 3 rounds, while just 15% had 1 quarterback and just 18% had 2 running backs, putting a strong dent in any potential of considering Kyren Williams or Josh Allen with this pick. So since I already had 1 wide receiver and 1 running back after 2 rounds, the data strongly suggests taking a wide receiver right here in round 3, and I certainly wasn't mad about choosing between Tyreek Hill and Davante Adams. That's a great problem to have. Now, why did I choose Tyreek Hill over Davante Adams? 2 reasons really, and they're actually pretty simple. For starters, it was an opportunity for me personally to balance my portfolio exposure between the 2 of them. At the time of this draft pick, I simply had more stock in Davante Adams than I had in Tyreek Hill for the upcoming season, and this was a chance for me to close that gap a little bit. Number 2, with De'Von Achane already locked up, I had an opportunity to continue stacking the Miami Dolphins offense, one that's finished top 6 in offensive yards and top 11 in scoring in 2 of the 3 seasons that Mike McDaniel has been calling the shots. And now with De'Von Achane and Tyreek Hill already locked up, already on my roster, I will almost certainly be targeting Tua Tagovailoa in round 13. So moving forward, I'm going to pencil in a quarterback for my round 13 draft pick, which is going to help me plan out my future draft picks from this point. And by the way, I will also be keeping tabs on Jalen Waddle in round 5, Jonnu Smith in rounds 8 or 9, and or Nick Westbrook-Ikhine in round 20 as well. So Tyreek Hill it is, and like I said, that is not a bad problem to have. In 39 career games with Tua Tagovailoa, where Tua threw at least 24 passes, the Cheetah is averaging 2.1 PPR points per possibility and dang near 10 targets and 21 PPR points per game. Those are some fantastic elite numbers to lean on in round 3. He's brought a safe floor, scoring 10 or more PPR points in 92% of those games with Tua, including 15 or more PPR points 62% of the time. We also know about his monster ceiling, where he scored 20 or more PPR points in 49% of those games with Tua, including 30 or more PPR points in 18% of those games, with a career high, or I should say a high with the Dolphins, of 44.5 points back in week 1 of 2023 against the Los Angeles Chargers. Bottom line, Tyreek Hill has every week wide receiver 1 upside, and I'm insanely excited every single time I can get him in round 3, which is why I currently have a 23% exposure rate to him after 300 plus drafts this year. I actually have to stop drafting him to make sure I don't go too overweight. It's almost time. In just a little bit, I am going to get to our May giveaway. If you didn't know, every single month I give away 1 autographed NFL jersey to 1 lucky member of my small but mighty business, Basement Brood Fantasy Football. Take a look. Speaking of winning, as I do every single month, I am giving away a signed NFL jersey to 1 lucky winner, 1 lucky BBFF member this month here in May. In January, we had a fantasy football contest for the duration of the NFL playoffs. Brian Beaver emerged victorious and took home an autographed Drew Brees and T. Higgins jersey. In February, we did a Super Bowl predictions pool. The winner of that is Seahawks fan Isaac Zart, who chose a retro Seahawks blue Jackson Smith and Jigba jersey signed by JSN himself. In March, Mark Vanderloo won our March Madness Brackets contest. He is a Greatest Show on Turf Rams fan, and he chose an old school Rams jersey autographed by the Rams all-time leading receiver himself, Isaac Bruce. In April, we had an NFL mock draft contest. The winner of that was Brandon Peterson, who chose an Alvin Kamara jersey. I've given away Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, Earl Campbell, Amon Green, and 2 different Jamar Chase jerseys, all within the last 12 months. I give away 1 autographed NFL jersey every single month, and if you want in on our next giveaway, just drop the word jersey in the comments below and I'll get in touch with more detail. All right, we're almost there, but before we get into May's jersey giveaway, let's talk about round 4, where I chose DJ Moore over the top running back James Cook, the top quarterback Jaden Daniels, and other wide receivers like Devontae Smith, Travis Hunter, DK Metcalf, and Courtland Sutton. Now, before you choose which player you want in each round, it's really important to consider your previous picks and make each decision with optimal roster construction in mind. In other words, choosing the right position in each round is arguably just as important, if not more important, than choosing the player himself. So why would we draft another wide receiver here in round 4? Consider that a dominant 30% of the top 300 teams in drafters' main best ball tournaments over the last 3 years had exactly 1 running back and 3 wide receivers after the first 4 rounds of the draft. For comparison, the next closest combination was 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers, checking in at just 18% of the time. And if we want to go just a little bit deeper, consider that a strong 48% of the top 300 teams had at least 3 wide receivers after the first 4 rounds. Meanwhile, just 28% had a quarterback and just 26% had 2 running backs. So once again, wide receiver was the call in round 4, but why would I choose DJ Moore over Courtland Sutton, DK Metcalf, Devontae Smith, and Travis Hunter? Well, for starters, we can eliminate Devontae Smith and Travis Hunter from this decision altogether. Nothing against those guys, they're just simply not in the same tier as DJ Moore, Courtland Sutton, and DK Metcalf in my 2025 Draft Dominator, which again, I'm releasing here in a couple days in June. Just comment Dominator if you want to get in on the pre-release waiting list. But the point is, if any of those dudes are available, if Courtland Sutton, DJ Moore, or DK Metcalf are available, then Devontae Smith and Travis Hunter are cut. They're not in the decision. But from there, it was literally just a matter of exposure and balancing my portfolio among those 3 wide receivers. Quite simply, I just had less DJ Moore at the time of this draft pick than I had Courtland Sutton and DK Metcalf. Now, as for DJ Moore himself, the guy is currently projected for over 1,000 yards and 6.5 touchdowns on DraftKings Sportsbook, and there's plenty of reason for enthusiasm and optimism for DJ Moore and that entire Bears offense moving forward. The Bears should take a step forward in year 2 under Caleb Williams, and especially in year 1 of Ben Johnson as their head coach, an offensive genius that led the Lions to top 2 in passing yards and top 4 in passing touchdowns in each of the last 2 seasons. In fact, the Lions finished top 5 in scoring in each of the last 3 years that Ben Johnson was calling the shots for Detroit, including leading the entire NFL in scoring just last year. I am all in on the Chicago Bears offense in 2025, and that's why I have big exposure to Caleb Williams, DeAndre Swift, Rashawn Johnson, though not both of those guys on the same team, but also DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and even a little bit of free 20th round Cole Kmet. Now, the downside to all of those players, of course, is that they all exist and there's only one football. So week-to-week consistency among them might be pretty hard to find, DJ Moore included. But DJ Moore is bound for big games, and he is an ideal fit for a best ball format. Again, I'm totally fine if you want to go with DK Metcalf or Courtland Sutton here instead of DJ Moore, but I do recommend going wide receiver based on what we've done in this draft so far. All right, it's time. The time is here. It is time to give away one autographed NFL jersey to one very lucky member of Basement Brood Fantasy Football. Now, in the month of May, BBFF members had a variety of different ways and different opportunities to get their name placed on the Supreme Wheel of Randomness several different times. Now, I'm going to give this wheel one spin, and whoever the wheel lands on will receive an autographed NFL jersey of their choice. So, without further ado, let's spin this bad boy and see who wins May's autographed jersey giveaway. What do you think, Lambo? You want to get in on this? Let's get Lambo in on this. Who's it going to land on? No way. Oh, Lambo, what do you think about that, my guy? Isaac Zart. So, Isaac actually won February's autographed jersey giveaway. He won our Super Bowl predictions pool. He's a Seahawks fan. He cashed in on a really slick-looking retro blue Jackson Smith and Jigba jersey signed by JSN himself. So, Isaac, my man, congratulations again for the second time. For the second time in, 4 months. So congratulations again. Keep an eye on your email. Keep an eye on your phone. I'm going to get in touch with more details. I'm going to get in touch to coordinate. But congratulations, brother. Twice in 5 months. That's terrific. Happy for you. All right, that's the first 4 rounds of this main best ball tournament that we're doing together on drafters.com. If you found this or if you find any of my content helpful, please do me a favor and smash those like and subscribe buttons. That way, you won't miss my next episode where I go through rounds 5 through 8 of this here best ball tournament on drafters.com. And remember, if you think you can beat me in a private, listeners-only best ball league, smash the link that we left for you in the show notes and enter promo code BBFF for a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. I'll see you on the fantasy football field. Cheers. This brew's for you.